A $2 billion settlement for workers in the care and support sector has been approved this afternoon by Cabinet.
When aged care worker Christine Bartlett and her union Air2 forced government to accept a court decision awarding pay equity, it ended a personal battle of 10 years for Christine, but a much longer one for women in general. As early as the 1890s, close on a third of all women were working outside the home, so it's not surprising that the women who campaigned for the vote also were calling for equal pay. By 1913, unions took up the cause, and the PSA was the first to adopt an equal pay for equal work policy. The newly formed Labour Party of the 1920s became the first political party to favour equal pay, but it was not a cause adopted by National until 1957.
Make things happen, 'cause it's your turn now. It's too late to turn.
The gap between rhetoric and action was huge, and it wasn't until Norman Kirk's government of 1972 that an Equal Pay Act was passed, setting a 5-year goal for equal pay. Despite the good intentions, the Act failed to deliver. The courts interpreted it conservatively, the Labour Department failed to enforce it, and employers continued to hire and pay women in a discriminatory fashion. What's more, the majority of women workers continued to find employment in undervalued occupations, areas that were considered women's work, so that the rise in women's pay compared to men slowed and then stalled. It was this undervaluing of traditionally female roles that caused campaigners for equal pay to redefine the issue. While the 1972 Equal Pay Act had attempted to address situations where women and men did the same work, campaigners began to talk about pay equity, where women do different work to men, but it is of the same value. It was this concept that Christine Bartlett and her lawyer presented to the courts in 2007. They argued that the 1972 Act could be used to advance pay equity, and that women working in rest homes used similar skills and attributes to men in other occupations who were paid considerably more.
It is strenuous, it is demanding, it's exhausting and emotionally draining.
The court agreed, thereby opening the door for women in other undervalued jobs to pursue pay equity under the Act.
Rather than going through a prolonged court process.
A process for pay equity claims that avoids the courts was agreed by government in 2017. The process allows individuals or groups to make a pay equity claim directly to an employer following 5 steps. First, the workers scope the group being claimed for. Essentially, they decide who to include. Once that's decided, the merit of the claim has to be developed. The group must be historically undervalued for social, cultural or historical reasons, which may have led to their low remuneration. If merit is agreed, then an assessment and evaluation of the job is the next step. This includes analysis of skills, responsibilities, effort and conditions of work, and must recognise those skills commonly overlooked or undervalued in female-dominated work. These could be social and communication skills, responsibility for the well-being of others, emotional effort, cultural knowledge and sensitivity. Phase 4 involves the selection of another workforce that's predominantly male, but performing work which is the same as or similar in value. This is so the relativities of work and pay can be compared. The final phase is negotiation between the parties to settle upon a rate. NZI Te Aroa currently has 2 claims under the pay equity principles. The first involves education support workers and the second is for teacher aides. Neither claim will succeed by negotiation alone. Both will need the active support of members to push pay equity across the line.
Stand up and be proud. Just stand up and fight for your rights. I've always said that, because other than that you won't be rewarded. If you stand up and fight for your rights, you will be rewarded, just like I was, and 55,000 care and support workers were rewarded in a big way.